with from the previous class. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namo Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnanandana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna-prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminti Namani Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatharini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for joining. We will continue our discussion from the previous topic. Like we have discussed that Kaddam Muni life story, where Kaddam Muni was like he is engaged in doing tapasya to have a wife who is suitable for his nature. Pleased with Kaddam Muni and offered, like he benedicted that Manu will come. So Manu will come and offer her daughter. So, and also I will become one of your son. So then Kaddam Muni, he was waiting there. So Manu has arrived. Kaddam Muni glorified Manu, and Manu glorified Kaddam Muni. Each of them glorified, and Manu offered Devahuti. So Kaddam Muni accepted Devahuti on the condition that after I will renounce. So they accepted, and in this way marriage took place. And Manu's wonderful life is described. So in their marriage, Devahuti always served Kaddam Muni with just like Parvati serves Lord Shiva. So with controlling their senses, with very pleasing words, with a lot of respect, she served. And Kaddam Muni became very much pleased, and he awarded benedictions. The Devahuti expressed her desire to have children, and also to attain some beauty, because she was like looking very emaciated. So at that time, Kaddam Muni created an aeroplane, and Devahuti took bath, and she became very beautiful. And they started traveling in that aeroplane over the world and enjoyed for several years. And finally, Kaddam Muni gave birth to 9 beautiful daughters. Then he was about to leave But that time Devahuti again requested her to award her fearlessness. So that time Kadamuni, he told that do not lament. The Lord will soon appear as your son. And if you worship the Lord, He will definitely cut all your attachments. So, in this way, you can worship the Lord. So, like that, He mentioned to Devahuti. So, Devahuti, hearing those instructions, she faithfully started serving the Lord. So after some time, the has appeared. The Lord has appeared in the womb of Devahuti, and he came. So when that is the appearance of Lord Kapila, who gave a lot of knowledge. So the when Kapila has was born, all the above devatas, everyone came to know that Lord has appeared. So Gandharvas and all the celestial musicians, everyone celebrated the appearance. Apsaras danced in joy, and all the devatas they showered a lot of flowers, and so Brahmaji came to know that Lord has appeared. So Brahmaji along with Marichi and other sages, they have come to see Kadamuni. So seeing that Brahmaji, the Lord has appeared, he was very much pleased. So he worshipped the Lord, and he started congratulating Kadamuni and Devahuti. So he was very much pleased with Kadamuni because Kadamuni exactly followed his desire and produced children. So therefore, you have completely without any duplicity, you respected my words, and you have carried out my instructions. So in this way, you have honored me, and this is how one should respect his father or spiritual master by saying yes, sir, Bhadamiti. So in this way, you saw. So you have 9 daughters. So offer your 9 daughters in marriage to 9 great sages. So Brahmaji had 9 sons. So like you can offer these your 9 daughters to 9 great sages, and you while offering you take care of their according to their temperaments and likings you offer. So that means like yata shilam yata ruchi, he says. So you match accordingly. So marriages should take place according to the both, considering the natures of both girl and boy, according to their temperaments, according to their ruchi, it should be matched and arranged so that their likings they should be matched. So that Brahmaji indicated to them. So and Brahmaji also said to Devahuti that uh, Supreme Lord has appeared in your womb, and he will award you all the knowledge that is recognized, and he will be famous as Lord Kapila, and his form is mentioned that he has golden hair and a lotus side, and he has signs of lotus on his feet, and in this way he always gives knowledge. So he has appeared, and he will cut off all your ignorance, and he will travel all over the world. So in this way, he will he will be the head of all the perfected souls, and he likes in the Sankhya philosophy. So in that he deliver that knowledge, and he will be famous as Kapila, and he will increase your fame. So in this way, Kapila has appeared, and it increased the fame of Mother Devahuti. In this way, Brahmaji has addressed to Kardama and Devahuti. So after that, after some time, Kardamuni, see, Kardamuni, he handed over their daughters to 9 great sages. So these are all great sages like Anasuya, Atri. So we hear these names often. So Arundhati to Vasishta. So they are the original daughters which are produced by Devahuti. So they are all very well-known personalities. So after these 9 daughters were married to nine great sages, they all left. They are left to their own respective places. So Kardamuni at that time, seeing Kapiladev sitting in a lonely place, he approached Kapiladev and started speaking. He understood that he is the Supreme Lord. So, in a manner of Supreme Lord, he started offering prayers again. Oh Lord, in general, uh, the Devatas, they will get pleased only after a long time. But you are very merciful that even after only great you meditating for many births, they will not be able to see your lotus feet. But you are so merciful that you have appeared you have appeared in our householders family like us. So this is like you don't consider like you show your mercy to even ordinary householders like that, like us. So in this way, you always support your devotees. You are always want to increase the honor of your devotees. So therefore, you have appeared you have appeared also to fulfill your words that you said that you will appear in my family, and also you have appeared to propagate the knowledge. So and all your forms that you take in different incarnations, they are all transcendentals, and they are very much pleasing to all the you are the supreme person. You maintain all these prayers to Lord Kapila. So after praying that you are the supreme Lord who create everything, you have appeared in this world. I have the I have one request that now I want to renounce. So I want to I have by producing a son like you, I have cleared my debts to my father. Now all my desires were fulfilled. So now I want to take renunciation. So by taking renunciation, I want to wander free from all the lamentation. And while wandering, I always want to think of you in my heart. So the purpose of renunciation is always to think of the Lord, and by thinking of the Lord, one will derive a lot of happiness. So I want to renounce in this way. So then one may ask that why Kardamuni want to renounce when the Lord himself take birth as his son. So that is because he wanted to he wanted to set example, Kardamuni, that the even people like even like one may ask that Lord himself has appeared as his son. So why he was preparing to leave home. So here he wanted to establish that Lord's order is that people should follow the Vedas as authoritative society. So he wanted to, Kardamani is perfectly followed his brahmacharya vow, and he also perfectly followed Grihastha's was. Now he want to set example that he want to like follow the next stages also. So therefore he wanted to renounce and set example. And also one more reason is given that Kadamuni is in the mood of Dasya Rasa with the Lord. So now Lord has appeared. So then this may like it may create the Vatsalya Bhav. So he wanted to maintain that Dasya Rasa. So that way also he wanted to leave. So different devotees will have different mood. So he is exhibiting this particular mood with the Lord. So Lord, after hearing the prayers of Kadamani, he started replying that uh, like the whatever I speak, whether I speak directly or in the scriptures, everything is authoritative and everyone will follow this word. So previously I spoke that I would become your son. So therefore, in order to fulfill the truth, that promise that I have appeared as your son, and also I will propagate the knowledge of Sankhya, like explain the tattva, so that people, when they understand, they will get freedom from all their entanglement, from unnecessary desires. So for that purpose, also I have appeared, and in this way, I will propagate this knowledge of Sankhya, which is very difficult to understand, which is lost in due course of time. So in this way, I have appeared. Now you expressed your desire to leave, so I give you permission. You can go, and while traveling, you can surrender, offer all your activities to me, and worship me. In this way, you will attain eternal life. And in your heart, by your activities, you will be able to see me within your heart as super soul. So in this way, by perceiving me, and also you will be able to perceive me in every living entity's heart. So in this way, you will achieve the eternal life, which is full of lamentation and fear. So, and you don't, you need not worry about my mother. I will give spiritual knowledge to my mother, so that she will also attain perfection, and she will also attain fearlessness. In this way, Kapildev, award like gave his permission to Kardamani to leave. So Kardamani, so in this way, he having taken permission from the Lord, he left for the forest, and he took a vow of silence and always thought of thinking, always thought Supreme Lord, and completely took shelter. So, and with that complete dedication, he is completely, like his mind was completely engaged. So therefore, he was freed from all the material contamination, three modes. His mind became very calm, and in this way, he became liberated and completely situated in devotional service. With that realization, he was able to see the Lord is situated in everyone's heart, as the Lord promised. And he sees all the jivas are situated in him. So this is uh, like we can see 3-4 times it came in this episode. So let Lord is situated in everyone's heart. That realization, when one completely situated in higher realms, so that he will be able to understand. So in this way, after understanding this, that Vasudeva is there everywhere, then he attained perfection, and he went back to the Godhead. So in this way, Kardamani, ideally, he executed everything and attained to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the ideal life of Kardamani is narrated in 4 chapters. Now, Kapilodev's teachings to Mother Devahuti is narrated in 9 chapters. So these are very elaborate instructions of Kapila which are very important. So we'll see. So Kapila teachings to Mother Devahuti. So they are like various categories are there. We will briefly discuss each of them. So first, Mother Devahuti approaches Kapila Dev to dispel her illusion. So that time Kapila Dev, he speaks of Bhakti Yoga and also briefly mentions about other yogas like Sankhya and Jnana and Yoga. And he describes the characteristics of devotee. So then Mother Devahuti asked to explain about Bhakti in detail. So Kapila Dev gives more details about Bhakti Yoga. So 25th chapter describes about more about Bhakti Yoga. And then in 2 chapters, Kapila Dev describes about Jnana. In 1 chapter, he describes about Ashtanga Yoga. And in 29th chapter, again, he describes about Bhakti and characteristics of time. And in 3 chapters, he describes about how people suffer in this world. So it will very elaborate how samsara is taking place in this world, he describes. And then finally, Mother Devahuti attains perfection. So this is the flow of these chapters. So when Kardamuni, he took leave from the Lord and he attained perfection. So Shaunikadi Rishis, they wanted to know that how Lord Kapila, he explained all the Sankhya philosophy. So for that, Sutta Goswami started explaining that. Maitreya Muni started speaking that Maitreya Muni, when Kardama left, Lord Kapila, he stayed in the house. So that time Devahuti, she remembered the words of Kardamuni and she approached Kapila Dev and she requested. So actually she requested that I am very much tired in this material world of enjoying these senses. I am very much disturbed due to because of these ignorance, because of my ignorance and because of these material senses. So you have appeared in my womb, you have appeared. So you are a transcendental I who can give knowledge so that I will be able to properly see. So therefore, dissipate all the darkness. You have appeared like a sun to dissipate all the darkness. And I take shelter of you. So to destroy this material existence. Please explain about please explain about knowledge by which I can get out of this samsara. So you can definitely give knowledge because you are the supreme personality of Godhead. So in this way, Mother Devahuti has approached Kapila and asked for knowledge. So that time Kapila he started explaining about knowledge. So he says that I will narrate you about Adhyatmika Yoga, which is like which will, by practicing which one will be able to come out of all the distress. He will get detached from all the happiness and distress in this material world. So this is the highest yoga system. So that I will narrate. So I will explain. I explained this previously to great sages who are eager to hear. And this is very much practical. Everyone can follow. So in the Adhyatmika Yoga, for every yoga, the mind is the pivot. So mind is very, very important. So the mind which is attached to matter, it creates bondage. But if the same mind, if it is attached to Supreme Lord, it awards liberation. So how can one understand the symptoms of a liberated mind? When that mind is completely freed from lust and greed and it transcends the happiness and distress, so that is said to be pure mind. So when that mind is completely pure, then he can understand that he is completely different from body. He will be able to see his spiritual existence as the soul completely different from this prakriti. So that is, he will get that realization. So how to get that realization? That realization will come with when one engages in bhakti by along with jnana and vairagya. So then he will be able to see that he is different from this material existence, and that time when he gains that knowledge, prakriti, that material influence will will be like it acts less powerfully upon you. So in this way, the one can get liberated. So what is that path one can follow? So he says that when if one doesn't engage in Bhakti Lord, so there is no auspicious path in this world to attain the Supreme Lord. So Bhakti is the ultimate process by which one can one will attain perfection in yoga. So how can one attain that Bhakti? So that Bhakti will only attained by the association of sadhus. Say that prasangam ajaram pasam atmana kavayo vidu sayeva sadhu shukruto mokshadvaram apaprata. If one associates with matter, so that is like it will act like entanglement. But if the same attachment, if they dovetail towards sadhus, devotees, then that will award them moksha dvaram avartam. It will open the doors to liberation. So in this way, this will open the doors to liberation, association of sadhus. So like bhakti can only start with associating with sadhus. So because sadhu association opens to liberation. How can one understand the characteristics of sadhu? So therefore, who is a sadhu? One can ask. So therefore, he gives some characteristics of sadhu. Sadhus, they are like titikshava, karunika. Titikshava means very tolerant. Karunika, they are very merciful. Suhruda sarvadehina, they are very like very friendly towards all the living entities. Ajata Shatrava, for them there is no enemy. Shanta, they are always peaceful. And moksha, sadhu bhushana. In this way, all these qualities they are decorated with these qualities. So that means, but these are said to be like these are the ornaments by which are who are having like tolerance, merciful to all living entities, who doesn't have any enemies, who is always peaceful. So these are all the wonderful qualities a sadhu exhibit. And the one more primary characteristic of sadhu is that he is always performs devotional service. So he says that my ananya bhavena, he performs devotional service with bhaktim kurvanti edrudam. Those persons who always perform bhakti towards me without any other shelter, that person is a sadhu. So when and madkrute tyakta karmana, he has given up all his activities. Tyakta swajana bandhava, he has given up all the relationships, all the karmas, who has completely taken shelter of me. That person is the primary sadhu. So that person, if he is undeviatingly worship me, although he may not initially exhibit all the wonderful characteristics, but in due course of time, he will definitely exhibit those wonderful characteristics. So therefore, these are the primary characteristics of sadhu, because he is completely taking shelter of the Lord. So in their association with those devotees who are completely dedicated to the Lord, one these 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 devotees, sadhu, how he uh, passes his time, he completely engages his time in hearing and glorifying about the Supreme Lord. So while in this way completely absorbing, hearing and glorifying, they don't experience any material miseries because they are always completely filled with my thoughts. So these are the great qualities of sadhu. So therefore you seek your attachment to these kind of sadhus. So because when you when you get attached to these kind of sadhus, then the effects of this matter, sangha, all the evil effects of matter which bind living entities due to this material world, they will not have any effect. So in this way, when you take in their association, you will attain bhakti prema. Rati means bhava bhakti prema. Satam prasangan mama virya samvidam bhavantirkanna rasayana kadam tajjoshanaadashu apavargavartmani shraddha ratir bhaktiran kramishyati. In the association of devotees, the advantage is that the my kada, Krishna kada, Krishna Rasayana kada, it will be very, very pleasing. And by regularly hearing that kada, it will situate one in apavargavatmani, situate one in path of liberation. Slowly it will create shraddha, means ruchi, rati, means bhava and bhakti, anukramishati. Slowly one will travel through all these stages. Ruchi, asakti, bhava, prema. We know there are 9 stages in devotional service. Ato shraddha, tata sadhu sangha, bhajana kriya. Means first there will be little faith, ato shraddha, then tata sadhu sangha, then one will associate with sadhus. Then he will start practicing bhakti, bhajana kriya. By start practicing bhakti, all the anarthas will slowly go away. Then he will be situated in Nishtha, study devotional service. With that Nishtha, when he steadily practice that will give rise to Ruchi, taste. And with that taste, he continues to practice, he will develop asakti towards the Lord. And that develops bhava and prema. So all these stages, association of devotees is necessary. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, one shloka comes where it said that the devotees, they attain a bhakti through association of sadhu, and in order to progress also one requires the association of sadhus. So in that way, with the association of sadhus only, one will progress through bhakti. So that is the importance of Krishna Kada, and also in the association of devotees, what one will perform. In association, one will always hear Krishna Kada. That is how one will pass in the association of devotees. So in this way, Kapil Dev, he mentions the importance of association of devotees hearing Krishna Kada bhakti process he mentions. After mentioning bhakti process, he also indicate that you practice the always thinking about me. You like the devotees while practicing yoga, he will be able to control their mind. So he also indicate the process of yoga, and also he also indicate the process of jnana. So both of them, by practicing this, one can achieve me, and you will be able to understand me. So like that he Kapil Dev mentions. So this like path of bhakti he has mentioned, that is one path, and also path of yoga, that also can be used to control the mind, and also path of jnana, easiest process, and it will give quick results. Other processes are also there, but in that also bhakti is required in order to the process to give success. So in this way, he mentioned 3 paths. So then Devabhuti hearing that these 3 paths are there, she asked that what kind of bhakti I can perform so that I can easily attain you. And you mentioned about jnana, you mentioned about yoga. So please, what is that jnana? Please explain. And what is that yoga that you mentioned? Please explain. So these three questions are answered in next 3-4 chapters. So I am very unintelligent. I can understand only if you give your mercy. Like that she submits. So Kapildev then hearing that he starts answering the questions about the first he answers about he describes the all this jnana, bhakti and yoga. First he starts answering about the bhakti process. So bhakti process, which bhakti that Mother Devahuti should perform. So for that, Kapil Dev suggests the process of pure devotional service. So pure devotional service means one will not have any other desires. Jnana shunyam and jnana karmadi anavritam. Jnana karmadi anavritam means that pure devotional service will not get covered by karma and jnana. So and it will not get covered by karma and jnana. And that bhakti process is anukulena krishnanushiranam bhakti ruttama. So the favorable activities which are pleasing to the Lord, that one when perform, that one that is the uh, pure devotional service. That bhakti is very, very powerful. So that bhakti he indicates here. So here he mentions that the whatever senses that we have, all those senses are working because of the devatas are supporting our senses. So when all these senses they are uh, engaged in the service of the Lord, and mind when it is engaged in the service of the Lord, so that and without any motivation, means without any motivation of achieving liberation or achieving any desires, only to completely satisfy the Lord. So that kind of bhakti is even greater than mukti. Bhakti siddher gariyasi. So it is even greater than achieving liberation. So just by practicing that bhakti without even endeavoring for mukti, mukti is automatically attained. So that is given by one analogy that when we eat food, so the digestive fire in our stomach, it will digest the food, and at the same time it utilizes the good part of the food and provides us energy, and it burns the bad part of the food, and it burns it process the bad part and sends it away from the body. So in this way, bhakti, when one completely practices bhakti, it dissolves the subtle body without any separate endeavor. So that means one need not separately endeavor to attain liberation. Just by practicing bhakti, all one's senses, mind, everything turns into spiritual. So in this way, he will attain supreme perfection just by practicing bhakti. And in that bhakti, there are like two varieties are there, raga bhakti and vaidhi bhakti. So raga bhakti means having attachment to the Lord in one particular relationship. So that means one can consider the Lord as one's son, or one can consider the Lord as one's friend, or one can consider the Lord as one's lover. So that is raga bhakti. So when one practices that bhakti in that affectionate mode, so that is called as raganuga bhakti. So vidhi bhakti is that when one practices bhakti, that hearing the descriptions of the scriptures say one should always perform bhakti. Tasmadekena manasa shrotavya. So hearing those descriptions, Shastra one follows bhakti, so that is called as Vidhi Bhakti. So Kapil Dev mentions that my devotees, pure devotee, they perform bhakti because they they don't have any desire to merge into my body, merge into me. They don't have any desire for liberation of merging. Their only goal is to perform devotional service to me. So for that purpose, they come together and they always glorify my pastimes and activities. And they always see my beautiful face while practicing bhakti, which are like very, very pleasing, and they favorably talk to me. So in this way, the Raga Bhakta devotees, they always they remember the form of the Lord and they wonderfully talk with the Lord. And when they are in this way, they are expressing their bhakti towards to me. They always, this is like, they always experience lot of pleasure in their heart, become experienced, absorbed in that bhakti. So when they are completely absorbed in that bhakti, they attain liberation, even if they don't want. That liberation is awarded. So they will easily attain liberation. They need not separately worship, separately endeavor for liberation. So mukti, it is mentioned that mukti is always at the doorsteps of a devotee. So in this way, these people completely absorbed in worshipping me, and in this way they achieve my own planetary systems, and they they don't even desire even higher planetary systems in this loka, Satya Loka. Because of that, they achieve my planet, kingdom of God, and they whatever other desires, everything will be awarded to them. And these devotees, they relate me, some of the Raga Bhaktas, they relate me as I am, as a lover, or as a son, or as a friend, or as a guru, or as a Ishtadev. So like that, they will be in particular relation, they will be able to relate with me. So for them, I will never lost. So, and time cannot destroy them. So in this way, I always protect them. They will always come to me. So in this way, Kapil Dev has mentioned about the how devotees they will attain, and he also for the process of how to practice that bhakti in the vidhi, in the while practice devotees in the neophyte stage, means when they have not yet developed full bhakti. That also he mentions that the person who understands, who worships me completely with in this world, completely in relation to me, so who doesn't have any other interest, who is they will become, they don't they uh, they don't have any other aspirations to attain happiness in this world or in the next world, but to attain me only they are worshipping. They will be able to completely understand me. They will also cross over this terrible fear of this material world. They will never get overcome by this matter, this material world, because out of my fear only, all the all this material world is working. Means all the devatas in this world, they are working out of my fear. So you need not worry about not worshipping the devatas. Wind blows out of fear of me. Sun shines out of fear of me. All the clouds, Indra sends all the clouds that out of fear of me sends. Fire burns out of fear of me, and death wanders out of fear of me. So you need not worry about any other worshipping any other devatas. You can completely take shelter of me. So in this way, when you completely practice that bhakti, and when a yogi, you will attain me. There is no doubt about that. You can practice that Tivra Bhakti, means with intense practice of the devotional service, you can easily achieve final perfection. So in this way, Kapildev described about bhakti, by practicing bhakti, how one can attain the Supreme Lord. So it is the easy process that one can attain. So after mentioning that, he also describes the path of jnana. So now I will narrate the path of jnana, which include the enumeration of the Sankhya philosophy, like characteristics of this Prakriti, the elements, how Purusha, Jiva is different from this Prakriti, and how this world is created, Karya Srishti, and Virat Rupa, how it is existed, and how a Jiva in this world is situated in a conditioned state and liberated state, and how he can attain liberation, that he explains in the next chapter. So I will now narrate about the characteristics of the elements, by knowing which one can cross over this matter. So he first glorifies the process that he is going to narrate. So one will be able to come out of uh, uh, free, they will be able to free from modes, attain perfection, and all the attachment will go away by hearing the knowledge of characteristics. So then he mentions that in this world, there, there are three kinds of categories in this world. That is Purusha, who is the Supreme Lord, Super Soul, and Prakriti, which is matter, and the Jiva, who are like we are all conditioned souls. So Prakriti binds Jiva. Prakriti can never bind Purusha. Prakriti and Jiva belongs to Purusha as the energies. So, like by Prakriti, all the living entities are uh, bound, but Prakriti cannot bind the Purusha. In fact, Prakriti is the energy of Purusha. So, like we can also say, Gita also Krishna says that Prakriti is my energy and living entities are my para Prakriti, superior energy. So this is dull matter, but this is Chetana, like Jiva, who is like having a consciousness. Therefore, it is para Prakriti, and Jiva also belongs to Purusha, Ishvara. Prakriti also belongs to Purusha, Ishvara. But the Jiva is currently bound by this Prakriti, Maya. So Jiva, therefore, bound by Maya, he is actually not the doer, but he is like bound by this Maya. He considers himself as the doer. So because of that, identifying with the matter, although he is beyond matter, so covered by illusion Maya of the Lord, the living entity thinks himself as the doer, and in this way he is undergoing this samsara, so which is leading to bondage. So actually, who is the the living entity is actually he is the part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So he's by his original nature he is the servant of the Supreme Lord. But because he is bound by Maya, so he is undergoing this samsara. So he is wrongly thinking himself matter, undergoing this samsara. So, but he has nothing to do with this matter. He is completely apart from this matter. So who is causing who is causing the jiva's actions? That Prakriti is the cause of jiva's actions, and the results of the jiva will be awarded by Purusha. So that means, like for example, I am lifting my hand like this. So jiva like as a jiva, I only desire to lift my hand, but everything is provided to me. That like I only express desire, but this prakriti, my body, which is given to me, executes that order. So, like there in the mind or in the heart, the command is given to hand for the rise, and the hand, in order to lift the sense devata, like Indra needs to support my hand, then only I can lift. So, and then the mind and intelligence and ahamkara, these are all together processed that desire and executed that command to my physical hand. So Prakriti is facilitating all my desires. So Prakriti is the cause of Jiva's actions. And Purusha, he sanctions the results of his actions. If you perform good action, he will sanction certain happiness. So, or if you perform bad actions, he will sanction some distress. So in this way, Purusha is just witnessing and awarding our results of whatever Jiva performs. So in this way, the interactions of Purusha, Prakriti and Jiva as mentioned. So after mentioning that, again he explains Mother Devhuti asks, please explain the characteristics of this the Supreme Lord and his different energies. So Kapildev again described the characteristics of the Prakriti and Purusha. So basically, here Kapildev describes that the process of elemental creation, which we have seen in second canto, where the pradhana, which is like Prakriti, it gets agitated through the glands of the Supreme Lord, which generates Mahatattva, and then Mahatattva it generates the Ahankara. Ahankara generates sound in the mode of ignorance. Sound generates ether. Ether generates touch. Touch generates air. Air generates form. Form generates fire. So in this way, all the 24 elements of matter will come through the combination of like with the glands of the Supreme Lord and the Prakriti. And each of the description of each of these element is also narrated by Kapila. So like each of the description is also given, like what is the characteristics of Pradhana. So Pradhana characteristic is like it is the original matter. The Mahatattva is the next one produces, which is like very pure in nature, the Sattva, through which Ahankara will come. So Ahankara has three components in Sattva, Raja and Tama. So through Ahankara only, the matter of different varieties will come. Then this Ahankara also produces mind and intelligence. So mind, the characteristics of mind is it always does Sankalpa and Vikalpa. Sankalpa Vikalpa means it decides something, and it also it reflects on something, by which lot of desire will come. We also narrate the characteristics of intelligence. The intelligence characteristic is that it has doubt, it has memory, it has sleep as is one of its characteristics, and it correctly ascertains something. Sometimes it falsely ascertains something. So these are the characteristics of intelligence that are given, and he also gives the characteristic of each of the element, how sound, ether, touch, everything will perform. So earth has the properties of, in earth, all the 5 properties of other elements are there, like smell, taste, form, like that, which we have seen earlier. So in this way, he describes all these characters of each of the element of Prakriti. So the reason for defining all these things is that when one understands that how he is completely separate from this body, which are actually individual elements or individual characters which are there. Then it's like only my ahankara is like kind of enjoying. I am not enjoying. I am thinking I am enjoying. So in this way, he will come to understand that principle by studying these things. So then he also narrate that how the Virat Rupa, this universe, came to manifest. So these are the creation of the elements. So all these elements should come together to form Virat Rupa. So when the Supreme Lord, he gives his energy, his cohesive energy, that time all these elements come together and that form the universe. So that universe is compared to some unintelligent egg. It is like an achetana avastha without any consciousness that is lying. So that time, various devatas try to enter into that Virat Rupa to awaken the consciousness in that Virat Rupa. But all the devatas, when they enter, that consciousness in that universe will not arrive. But only when the Supreme Lord Vasudeva, when he entered into that Virat Rupa, then that Virat Rupa attains consciousness and it came up. So the purpose, like why it is mentioned that the Supreme Lord is actually the cause by which the universe has manifested. All other devatas, they are depending upon the Supreme Lord. So devatas, when they enter into the apertures of universal form, it did not rise, it wake up. Virat Purusha did not wake up. But when Vasudeva entered, Virat Rupa rose. So just like when we are sleeping, unless in order for us to get up, the super soul and soul needs to wake up. Otherwise, there is no chance of waking up us also every day. So similarly, this universe, in order to come about this universe, this creation, only when the Lord Vasudeva, Supreme Lord, when he entered, then only this universe will rise. So the purpose of explaining all this is that one understands that how in the workings of this universe, unless the Lord supports, this universe will not come. Unless the Lord supports, even all of our senses also will not come. So therefore, by the purpose of explaining all this, that one can contemplate how super soul is acting in this world. So in this way, they will advance. So in this way, the Sankhya philosophy is also explained by Kapila. In the next chapter, he explains the jnana in more analytical terms, in the kind of how one can analyze a jiva is entangled in this world, Prakriti. So that he will explain, so that we will continue our discussion in the next section. I will stop here.
Okay, Prabhu.
These are very technical descriptions, Kapila Deva. One need to study very deeply in order to understand them. So I am giving the summary so that.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll end here. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Srimad Bhagavatam. Jai Prabhupada.
Prabhu.
Yes. Someone is saying something. Okay.
No, I think there's